Welcome to Layer the Alchemist, where we discuss all things heavy metal and hard rock. On today's episode, a metal musical analysis of the songs Mystery by Dio and Jonny Blade by Black Sabbath. I'm going to be showing you some musical writing concepts of modulations, changing key, changing tonal centers. I already did a video on how musicians write songs, a part one where we talked about tonal centers, key centers, major and minor keys, relative major and relative minor. If you haven't seen that, I encourage you to watch that. I'll link it in the description. I go much more in depth into this topic. To summarize that, when people write songs, they tend to write around a key center, which means a note or a chord that the other chords are revolving around. This chord is what your ear hears as being home base. Usually the song ends on this chord. And then we talked about tonalities, major and minor, the two big ones, major and minor. And we talked about how for every major key, there's a relative minor that shares the same notes. For every minor, there's a relative major that share the same notes. And the example I gave was Wasted Years by Iron Maiden, which starts off in E minor. Your ear is hearing E as home base, the tonal center. And then for the chorus, it goes to G major, which is the relative major of E minor. They share the same notes, but now your ear is hearing G as kind of the center. All right, so we're going to be looking at, we're going to start off with Mystery by Dio. This is a song from the Last in Line album. Very melodic, almost popish with its feel. It's written by Jimmy Bain. I believe Ronnie gets a writing credit on it too, but from everything I understand, this one was really driven by Jimmy Bain. And although it seems like just kind of a throwaway melodic rock song, there's actually some interesting harmonic things that are going on in here. And so let's take a look at it. All right, it starts off in F major. There's two interesting things here. Usually the tonal center in heavy metal and hard rock stuff tends to revolve around the open strings of the guitar because it's easier for the guitar player. They can play open strings. It just sounds better. When those keys are usually like E, A, D, G, maybe sometimes B. So this starts in F major, which is a very un-metal key, and it's in a major key, which again is not something that a lot of metal songs play in major keys. So you get this, okay, very major sound. And what happens here is the guitar is playing this pattern that sort of really outlines an F major chord, and the bass is playing underneath it, so you get... Then the bass changes a little bit. Okay, very major. Right? And then there's a big drum fill. And then it goes to F minor. Now that's interesting because in F major, the relative minor, the minor key that shares the same notes as F major, would be D minor. That would be commonly what most people would change to, like in Wasted Years from Iron Maiden. They go from the relative minor to the relative major. They stay where they share the same notes. But this goes from F major to F minor, and they only share a couple similar notes. And this is what's called a parallel minor. This is where your tonal center, F, stays the same, but we go from F major to F minor. Does that again for F minor. Then the bass does this sort of walk down thing. Then the bass sets us up for another key change here. Now we're in D minor. Now D minor is the relative minor of F major, but remember we came just from F minor. We went F major at the beginning of the song to F minor. Now we're in D minor. So it gives it sort of an interesting lift there, going from F minor to D minor. They don't share that. They only share a couple similar notes, so it has this interesting sort of change to it. Can you hear me? Can you see? There's a storm. And then the verse is in D minor. Edge of the cloud. Doesn't matter. Well, it does to me. I can tell you why. Then to get into the chorus, it goes to a G minor. Silver linings can disappear, but they always shine. Now, can your ear hear where this is going to go? Always shine, it's always a mystery. Then we're back into F major, all right? So let's go back for a second here. This is the bridge, G minor. It's setting us up for F major. And listen to how your ear hears it moving here. Your ear wants to hear it go to F major. Silver linings can disappear, but they always shine. And Ronnie did something very interesting. He sings over this C chord. He sings a B flat. Always shine. Oh, that note right there. And that makes this what's called a C dominant seventh chord, something used a lot in blues and jazz. And it really sets us up for always shine to go back to F major. It's always a mystery. Not what it... Now this is like the very, very intro, the first progression. Not what it seems to be. It's always... Now, instead of switching to F minor, though, they just stay in F major and they do this little walk down. Seems to be a mystery, just like you and me. Always a mystery. Very uplifting, right? Because we're in a major key here. It's very lifts up, right? We just went from D minor to its relative major. D minor. Silver linings can disappear, but they'll always. Here we get this chord, which is called a 5 chord, a dominant chord, is a very strong magnet. It wants to pull us down 5. We're in C here. C, B, A, G, F. Down to F. Always shine, it's always a mystery. Alright, and then it just goes back to doesn't matter, da-da-dee, da-da, and it goes back to D minor for the verses. Alright, so that's an example of parallel minor in the beginning and how a song can drive your ear to go back in the verses there. The bridge of this song really drives us back to the chorus in F major, verses in D minor, and then takes us back to F major for the verse. All right, Jonny Blade, Black Sabbath. This is off of the Never Say Die album. This is interesting, too. This one is also in F, which wasn't, when I was putting this together, it's just a coincidence, which, again, is an odd sort of key for metal. It has that long keyboard intro, which is in F minor. And then when the main riff comes in, this song is going to show us a modulation, but there's no relation. In Mystery, F major to F minor was a parallel minor. We kept the F the same. We just changed the major and minor. Here, there's no relation with this modulation. It's just sort of an off-the-wall, out-there modulation. So the main riff in the song is like... Tortured and twisted, right? All right, F minor. He walks the streets alone. People avoid him, they know the streets. So now, then it moves up to B flat major. It kind of does like a blues thing. This is like the blues to go up 4 F, G, A, B flat. But it's a major. If we were in F minor, this should really be minor, but they go to B flat major. Don't do that to Jonny Blade. Da 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 da. He's a mean guy around this town. One look and he will cut you. Now this is where it does a weird change. It goes to G major. Jonny Blade, Jonny Blade. No relation to F minor. It's just a sudden change, which is really strange. Again, it's like, don't do that to Jonny Blade. He's the meanest guy around this town. One look and he will cut you, Jonny Blade. Right? Do you hear how that lifts up? It's very, because we've gone from F minor, we've just moved up 2 half steps. Jonny Blade. And Ozzy sings this line that it's a big leap. It's Jonny Blade, right? Very triumphant almost. You can picture like horns playing that, right? So now we're in G major, just unrelated to F minor. We land up in G major, but it gives us this very lift sound to it. Now, instead of going back to where we just came from, F minor, they just stay there and go to G minor. Okay, now this is a parallel. We're doing what we did in Dio Mystery. We went from F major to F minor, which is the parallel minor. Now the chorus of Jonny Blade is in G major, and to get back into the verse, which is very creative here, they just go to G minor. So Jonny Blade, then to G minor. Life has no meaning, there'll be no return. Now it's going to follow the same pattern. It's going to go up 4 like a blues sing down to that Jonny Blade. Because if it's not been had this town, well, look and he will cut you. Now we're following the same pattern. Before we were F, started in F minor. To go to the chorus, we went up 1 note to G major, totally unrelated major key shift here. Now we're in G minor, and we're going to go up to A. Jonny Blade, Jonny Blade, Jonny Blade. Okay, very creative. And that's why that chorus really sort of pops out, because it's just kind of like this out of left field thing. When you're listening to a song and it goes from the relative minor to the relative major, or the relative major to the relative minor, your ear, it's not a shocking change because they share the same notes, like I talked about in the other video, like I've talked about here. Well, when you go from F minor to G major, they don't share a lot of the same notes. They're very different, so it's sort of this change in your ear. And then we go to G minor, and then we modulate up to A major for the second chorus. So very creative. First chorus of the song is Jonny Blade, G major. Second chorus of the song is A major, Jonny Blade, Jonny Blade. Then it does this very, A major. Then it goes to A minor. Then it goes to like a sort of a bluesy thing. So again, another sort of shift there. So, all right, there you go. Examples of parallel major and parallel minor. They share the same root note, but they don't share the same notes. And sudden modulations, like here in Jonny Blade, we start off in F minor, then we modulate to Jonny Blade, then we go to G minor, life has no meaning, then the next chorus is A major, Jonny Blade. And the way Ozzy sings that line, again, it sounds like you can picture a trumpet. It's very all big leaps in it. So, all right, there you go. There's examples of different types of modulations here with major and minor. I'm going to be doing more musical analysis things to tie in with the episodes that I do on how musicians write songs. The next Musicians Write Songs video is going to be about rhythmic things like accents, odd time signatures. What do these things mean? I'm going to explain that in another video, and then we'll analyze some songs that use different time signatures. Okay, if you have any questions about this, what I talked about here, let me know in the comments down below. If there's a topic you would like me to talk about, like this, related around music or a particular song, there's something that you hear, why does this song sound like that? This is why Jonny Blade, that chorus sounds so uplifting in it, because of these sudden modulations to unrelated keys. All right. Let me know in the comments down below. Till we see you again. Make sure you stay heavy, stay metal.